So this one is a follow-up on the first video that I put out there about the Blackpod disease, which affects the cocoa pods by one fungi like that, the Phytophthora parmivora, then megawittin. Just anyway, that's none of our business here. The fungus, actually what it does is that when it gets to the pod, it it reproduces through spores, just spread out like that on each and every pod, and it kind of eats up the pod, causing some defection, kind of black defection like that, that makes the seed not to have weight and useless. In fact, that's not the standard of the cocoa required by the international communities. Yeah. So the blackpod disease actually comes up more during the rainy season. When it's rainy, the environment tends to be humid, the atmosphere is kind of humid, and it's these humid atmospheric conditions that actually encourages these fungus to spread out, to reproduce and do very well. So if you are a cocoa farmer, okay, there are two kind of lands for cocoa. One is at the lowland and one is at the highland. One is one is kind of open space. Yeah, let me use that term. That's very easy. One is the space open, kind of, probably you've been pruning very well, or the way you planted these trees, there was good distancing apart. So this kind of land, when it's time for this blackpod disease, like now that is the rainy season, what you do is you use the blue chemical. Sellers or manufacturers just divided them into two. Here in my area, I don't know what it's called in your own area, like there's a blue chemical, something like this, the cough side is blue, and then you have the red chemical, something like the McKinsey gold. This one is called the red chemical. The red chemical is used for environments that are seriously humid. Such environments are like those in the swampy regions. Your land is kind of swampy, a lot of water is near the water side, or the way you planted your trees, they are kind of too close together. Such environment, such trees, if not properly pruned, it will be difficult for sunlight to penetrate through this farm. So definitely that environment will be humid, and you can expect a lot of blackpod disease there. So you have to use, for these very humid environments, use something like the McKinsey gold. There are others like the Ultimax, the Red Force, and there are also those for the open land, like where there is no much, you are not expecting much of this blackpod, probably because the land is open, the trees are wide apart, and you did proper pruning during the year. So you can go for the blue ones. Otherwise, this might get to affect the pods if you spray, if you mix it up. If you use the blue for areas where they're supposed to be, you are supposed to use the red, what you might face is ineffectiveness of the chemical. While if you use the red for where it's supposed to be blue, what you might face is maybe capsid. So it's good to ask your local sellers, which of this chemical are you to use for your land? Is it the red or the blue? So I just give you the information here. You go there, you ask them. There are different brands. Select the one that's best good fitting for your farm. So I just say let me drop this in as a follow-up. Alright, so if you're unable to get these chemicals in your location, I don't know where it might be. If it's so difficult for you to get, there's a particular market I went to, and what I saw there wasn't good enough. Like, I was not impressed because most of the chemicals there were expired. In fact, all that I purchased there were expired chemicals. It's sad that some of the farmers get to be like, hey, yeah, that's what they want. I don't know how they get to try things. You see, these chemicals are made of, the major ingredient there is copper. If you check the sachet, at least most of them, you see copper hydroxide, copper 2-oxide. Copper is the active ingredient there. So if you don't get to find copper there, you know that it's useless. How this chemical works is that the copper gets to coat the pod and prevents this fungi from reproducing or spreading. That is just the baseline of how this chemical works. So if you don't get to see copper in the ingredient, no say nothing they don't give you, whether they don't say you homo or something in place of say it is blackpod, they work. So if you are unable to get this in your location, you can send me a DM. Let me know the exact brand you're looking for. Let me know the quantity you need, and I will send. The price are not much. Blackpod chemicals are not expensive. There are some ranging from like 1,000. There are those for 1,500. Then there are those for 2,500. There are those for 2,000 naira. You understand? So you can just, send me a DM. Let me know the quantity you need, and I'll find a way. We're in Cross River State, so I'll find a way to, sort them out. You make payment, and then we send over to you. If you don't have it in your location, there's a particular brand you are looking for that is not in your location, and you've cited it on my videos, let me know. If there is one you are looking for that is not yet on my videos, you can just send type it out, send it to my DM. Let me see if I can search it out for you, and then send over to you. Thank you. God bless.